We have very great respect to religious books like Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Quran, whatever it is. But treat them as sacred doctrines. While we are oblivious, to the constitution which has changed our life. So it is unlikely that even those who are well educated and well placed have a copy of the constitution in their houses unless they are advocates. It is a day to understand what kind of freedom, what kind of rights have been given. What is constitution? This constitution is like Bhagavad Gita of our country. This constitution is like Quran of our country. This constitution is like Bible of our country. So whenever, even if it is in a birthday, even if it may be a wedding day, it may be any kind of auspicious day, you can go and present them the constitution. How many of us are doing that? So it is a great idea. In the Constitution Day, we must be aware only because of this Constitution, India is an outstanding nation amongst other countries. Only because of its exemplary Constitution that has been crafted by the father of our Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I'm trying to give a realistic meaning for this. Article 15 says, the state shall not discriminate. What if we could read like this? The society shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of. Now the state is not discriminating until or unless the society discriminates. We are Vasudeva Kudumbam. What is Vasudeva Kudumbam? Which means that entire humanity is one large family. We are one large family. Every man is related to every other person in this country. So we should first learn to treat fellow Indians as a fraternity. We all belong to one family, that is Vasudeva Kudumbam. I wish you all happy Constitution Day. As it is November 26 today, I wish one and all happy Constitution Day. The Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. But we, the people of India, after being unnoticed for long, the day began to be celebrated as Constitution Day since 2015. Only after 2015, we are celebrating this day as Constitution Day. But it is imperative to go beyond the celebrations and look at the substantive issues relating to the primary parchment of the nation. For example, if we pose a question about the level of awareness about the Constitution among we the people, the answer may not be encouraging. Definitely, the answer may not be encouraging. It is understandable if unlettered people are not aware of the Constitution. But the situation is not much different among the educated societies either, despite the fact that Constitution is an integral part of our life. And now, the Constitution has a clear imprint on our day-to-day life. Though we may not be really conscious of it, but our Constitution has a clear imprint on our day-to-day life. Say, for example, if we ask a policeman when he stops us, when he is stopping us, we ask a policeman, why you are stopping me? We ask him, because the Constitution has given us that right. The newspaper we read, the TV channels we watch, or we travel by bus, train, or in our own car every day. Whatever it is our own right, it is our own freedom, and we can do whatever we want, as far as it is not illegal. And then, getting a passport and flying, and taking up a profession we like, eating the food we relish in a restaurant, and buying fashionable outfits in malls, and whatever it is our freedom. And it has been given us through the Constitution of India. It is our freedom to select between those. It is our own choice that we can make. It has been ensured in the Constitution of our India. So that is the reason why we are telling that it has a clear imprint on our day-to-day life, though we may not be really conscious about it. So, the freedom of movement, the freedom of expression, the freedom to choose a calling of our living, freedom to buy, sell and carry on any trade, freedom to wear a garment of our choice, all these freedoms emanate from the Constitution in the form of fundamental rights. All these freedoms emanate from the Constitution in the form of fundamental rights. These are all fundamental rights. We can select between what is good and what is not good for us, for our personal wish. It is our wish to select those. So it is called as fundamental rights. So even though we may not be aware from where we are deriving, from where we are getting these rights, but it is the fact that we are getting these rights from our constitution. Our constitution has ensured us these rights. So when we were on the verge of independence, before independence, when we were on the verge of independence, our freedom fighters wanted to make a clear break, a clean break with the past, and build a brave new society through the constitution. So before the independence, we were slaves. We were treated like slaves. It was a colonial era wherein we won't be having any kind of freedom of our own. So our freedom fighters, when we were on the verge of independence, our freedom fighters wanted to make a clear break, wanted to make a clean break with the past and build a new society, brave new society through the constitution. Thus, the constitution declared with the stroke of a pen, our constitution declared with the stroke of a pen that all Indians are equal citizens. All Indians are equal citizens irrespective of caste, creed, religion, color, gender, estate, education, whatever. Nothing can come in between a citizen to differentiate or to discriminate one another. This is indeed heady stuff for a nation steeped in religion. Already for a nation that has been steeped in religion, rituals, ignorance, and poverty. A country before independence, India, a country like India before independence, which was already steeped in religion, rituals, ignorance, and poverty, which gave rise to unacceptable inequalities between men and women, rich and poor, literate and illiterate, and the laity. There were differences. So setting aside all these differences, all these aberrations, the constitution put everyone on even level. So that is the requirement, that is the place where comes the need of constitution. So constitution put everyone on an even keel, even while providing a level playing field for the weak and the meek. There is a level playing field for the weak and the meek as well. So there is no denying the fact that the law is a weak source to bring about change in human thinking and behavior. That is the kind of message I am trying to convey is that only the law is only not enough. It is not a only weapon, and so that it becomes a weak source to bring about change in human thinking and behavior. If behavior of human is to change, then only law is not enough. So what is needed then? Where is constitution? How many of them are aware about the constitution and the fundamental rights that has been given in the constitution? How many are there to take the rights and how many are there to deny the rights? Deny the rights of others. How many are to demand the right of themselves? So that is the question here. So what is the reason? Just because the constitution declared all Indians are equal, equality does not prevail from the day of such a declaration. When you declare that all Indians are equal, immediately equality will not come. So there has to be some game plan. There has to be implications. There has to be some plan. So what is here? But if we inculcate it in our offspring, with our children, in our people, we have to inculcate it. How? Social change is distinctly possible if we inculcate it in our offspring. We all teach our children not to tell lies. Say, for example, we all teach our children not to tell lies and not to steal. Cannot we teach them to treat their classmates without bias, without discrimination? Cannot we tell them? Cannot we teach them? So the constitution, through mere book, it cannot be implemented. At least by a book, it is in the book. But what we have to do, we must take it to the people. We must take it to the children. We must take it to our offspring. So that is the only available option here in India. So, and that is what the constitution says too. But we are hardly conscious of the constitutional ideals enshrined in the preamble. So now, explaining the indifference now. See, how do we explain the indifference to the constitution? We pay great respect to religious books. We pay very great respect to religious books like Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Quran, whatever it is. We pay great respect to religious books, but treat them as sacred doctrines, while we are oblivious to the constitution which has changed our life. So it is unlikely that even those who are well educated, and well placed have a copy of the constitution in their houses unless they are advocates. If at all if he is an advocate, he will have a copy of Constitution of India in his office or in his home. But even educated people, they don't have a copy of Constitution of India in their house. Then how come they would be aware of the Constitution, and how come they could be able to read or understand what kind of rights have been given in that? And how will they take their rights? How will they demand their rights? And how will they give others rights? So that is the pathetic situation of people in India. So why there is a day? It is not a day to rejoice or celebrate. It is a day to read. It is a day to understand what kind of freedom, what kind of rights have been given. What is Constitution? This Constitution is like Bhagavad Gita of our country. This Constitution is like Quran of our country. This Constitution is like Bible of our country. When we take our country as a religion, when India is a religion, then Constitution is the Quran of it. When India is a religion, then Constitution is the Bible of it. When India is a religion, then Bhagavad Gita is the Constitution. So we must understand, if he is a Muslim, he has with him a Quran. If he is a Christian, he always carries a Bible. If he is a Hindu, he always carries a Bhagavad Gita and respects it. And how far they are carrying a Constitution book? The answer is very pathetic. So that is the reason. They are not even aware, and they are not even aware about giving others the respect and rights what they deserve. And now, while educating people broadly know that there is a thing like fundamental rights, we are largely unaware of the fundamental duties enshrined in the Constitution. We are always bothered about rights, but what is their duty? The Constitution is a holistic doctrine. Rights bring responsibilities with them. You always talk about rights, but what about your duty? You are constitutionally bounded to a country with some duties. And whenever we talk about the rights, I have that right, I have this right, and what is your duty towards your nation? What kind of duty you have to fulfill? Even that has been given in the Constitution. So people who really care about their holistic scriptures, they don't even bother about our Constitution, the book of Constitution. So there is a chapter of fundamental duties in part 4A of the Constitution. There is a separate chapter for that. So, but how do we know that Constitution unless we have a copy and bother to open it even occasionally? We should have a copy with us, and we should bother to open it even occasionally. We should open it, we should read it, and we should convey the message to others so that they can understand, oh, it is the right, oh, it is the duty of us. As a dutiful citizen, we must be aware of the Constitution. Only when you have at least a copy of Constitution with you. So in this auspicious day, I urge all of the Indian citizens to have a copy of Constitution of India, at least a small handy book, so that you can refer every now and then. So then you can be aware what is your right and what is your duty. So then you can understand what is others' right to give. So, hardly any parent thinks of gifting the Constitution to their child in their birthday, while every parent wants their offspring to grow up as a responsible adult. So there are reasons why they are unaware about the country, because ignorance of law is not an excuse. What is Constitution? So whenever, even if it is in a birthday, even if it may be a wedding day, it may be any kind of auspicious day, you can go and present them the Constitution. How many of us are doing that? So it is a great idea. In the Constitution Day, we must be aware only because of this Constitution, India is an outstanding nation amongst other countries. Only because of its exemplary Constitution that has been crafted by the father of our Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So in this day, we should remember what is. So it is a vague idea. It is a vague idea unless we inculcate values such as respect for women, empathy towards the weak and the meek, and reject the dowry, caste, and creed as the basis of measure to value and the values of a person. And where we do find these values? In the Constitution. Only if we educate them, only if you could educate the society through the Constitution, it will give us some room to understand what are the values, how to respect a woman. And now the one who is unaware about the Constitution may ask, is there a necessity to respect women? He may ask, if he is unaware of the Constitution. If there is a necessity to show some empathy towards the weak and the meek, Is it not the survival of the fittest? Without knowing the constitution, one may definitely ask. So, rejecting dowry, caste, and creed as the basis to measure the values of a person. So, these good values could be inculcated into the offspring only by educating them what actually constitution is. Article 15 says that state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. So there could be no discrimination, especially on grounds of religion, race, caste. So now what we are seeing, how beautiful this sentence would have read had the state been replaced by society. So the society shall not discriminate. I'm trying to give a realistic meaning for this. Article 15 says the state shall not discriminate. What if we could read like this? The society shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of. Now the state is not discriminating until or unless the society discriminates. So what is the problem now? The ground reality is that the society discriminates. Society discriminates against the citizens on grounds of religion, caste, their language, place of birth, or any of them. So, has any parent thought along these lines while raising their child and teaching them good manners and values? When raising their child and teaching them good manners and values, they should have taught them no society can discriminate between people. No society can discriminate between their own brothers on the grounds of race, religion, caste, language, or place of birth, or any other thing. They should have taught them. So in this Constitution Day, we must know what actually our Constitution is. For that, at least we must be having a copy with us every day. And again, as we gift others all kind of books or other gift items, we must give them our Constitution book to them. And then, as we insist, before going to the state, we must think about the society. We must tell our offspring, we must inculcate it to the offsprings of ours that they should not discriminate. They should not be biased within their classmates. So these are all the Constitution, wonderful things that the Constitution teaches us. As part of the curriculum, unfortunately, there is hardly any focus on the Constitution at the school level. The Constitution should get due recognition across the education system. Celebrating November 26 as Constitutional Day is fine. Celebrating November 26 as Constitutional Day is fine, but we should not restrict ourselves to symbolism. This is symbolism. So we should not restrict ourselves to symbolism. We should look at the substantive issues dealt with by the Constitution, thereby enriching our life. So that is the substantive issues, whatever I have quoted before. Those are all the substantive issues. Our ancient text teaches us that we are Vasudeva Kudumbam. What is Vasudeva Kudumbam? Which means that entire humanity is one large family. We are one large family. Every man is related to every other person in this country. So we should first learn to treat fellow Indians as a fraternity. We all belong to one family, that is Vasudeva Kudumbam. We all belong to one big family, that is Indians. For our family, our holy book is Constitution of India. That is what we have to understand. And we should first learn to treat our fellow Indians as a fraternity at first, and then we will know this only if we care to open the first page of the Constitution. We must care to open the first page of the Constitution. For this, we need a copy of Constitution. And it costs less than a movie ticket these days. Let us respect the Constitution. Let us walk accordingly to the Constitution. Let us spread the beautiful message of our Constitution. Let us live according to the Constitution. Thank you.